Hello and welcome to this channel and welcome to this video, however you found here, probably because you were looking for doll customization stuff, which this is, don't get me wrong, that sounded like I'm like clickbaiting those people that look for that. Yeah, also Merry Christmas if you celebrate and Happy Holidays. I know Christmas was yesterday or 2 days ago, depending where you live and when you celebrate. Just like in Germany, we mainly celebrate on the 24th, whereas in the US, you mainly celebrate on the 25th, if I'm right? Yeah, if I'm not, please don't hit me. Anyway, let's stop the stalling and get right into this video. Today, we're gonna make a custom of this pretty pony, which is a C that I made for a friend of mine. So this was a gift for a friend of mine for her birthday back in June, so you might see some bright nails in between. But like I said, I'm stalling again, so let's get straight into it. This is the pony we'll be using for the custom. It's just an off-brand pony that was like half the price of a My Little Pony figurine. And as you can see, it's taller than a My Little Pony figurine, which for half the price, wow. Even though the plastic was a little meh. First step, as always, is getting rid of all that hair. Yeah, and that's basically all I'm doing right now. Now that the hair is nice and short, we just have to get rid of those little remains. Even though I did kind of regret cutting it that short, as it was a lot harder to like remove those little stubbles with those tweezers. So yeah. Now then, all the hair is gone now, and I also did take the time to remove the face up. And now we have a nice and clean base. As you can see, there was some pink like rings on the eyes and the horn though, and I got rid of that later, but I was surprised to see it. As much as I did like those little hearts on the shoes, I think it's like supposed to be horseshoes, I had to get rid of them, because otherwise they would have probably poked through the sock and I couldn't have that, so yeah, they had to go. I had to do the same for the ones on the back, even though here I also had to get rid of the like horseshoes, because those also stood out, and the back legs don't have socks, so it needed to be all gone. Even though, as you can see, since I cut it off, it kind of left some carve marks, I'd say, which I had to cover up later. This for me was the scariest part, since as you can see, I like literally hesitated to start cutting off the muzzle, as the muzzles I have in my art style are more square. I also wanted to make the figurine matching to that, meaning all that roundness had to go, and I had to cut off a good chunk of it. And here you can see that I cut through for the first time. Didn't mean to, but I just had to keep going because it was not flat enough yet. This is sad Victor. Look, it's just hollow. It's fucking hollow. It just stares into your soul like, with those lifeless eyes. As I said before, I just couldn't leave the legs like that, so I covered them up with clay, and I did the first chunk really out of frame. It happens. So yeah, all I did was basically just put some clay on there and then just smooth it out a bunch, mostly with my nails, because that is surprisingly helpful to have long nails to like smooth out clay. Also don't know why, but it works, so I won't complain. With the back legs all nice and covered up again, I started working on the muzzle. I didn't bother with the front legs because, as mentioned before, there's socks on the front legs, so why bother covering them up? You won't see it anyway. I basically just put on a sheet of clay on the snout and then just blended it to the sides. And that's all I did. And also added like nostrils later on and like the mouth to like continue that. But you'll see. If you keep watching, please keep watching. I worked hard on this. And this is what it looks like with the clay all dried up. I also covered up the back side to cover all those holes because I won't revert this, I will glue hair on top. Plus there was like holes all over the side and I don't really have hair on the sides for my ponies. With the clay there was only one small problem, it wasn't the right color, so I had to go in and paint the clay. For that I used acrylics and watered them down a bunch so that you hopefully won't see the brush strokes as much once it's dried. I also tried to match the color of the pony as best as I could and took the opportunity to cover up all those pink stains that were there for whatever reason. And yeah, I just recorded the first layer of doing this, so it doesn't look as good, but it did end up looking decent in my opinion. Then with the coat color all done after like a gazillion layers of just watered down acrylics, I also painted on the cutie mark real quick, which is just 2 stars. You don't really see it unless you like turn it a bunch because it's quite a translucent color. And here comes my favorite and least favorite part of doing customs, the face up. I already sketched it out off camera and right now I'm just darkening the eyeshadow. I later on also put a bit of like glittery translucent paint to make the eyeshadow sparkle a bit. It was the same paint I just used for the cutie mark but a bit more watered down so that it wouldn't take over too much, but there is gonna be some sparkle at the end. Also I'm just erasing the stuff that went into the eye as the sclera, I think it's called. It's supposed to be white and not yellow. I originally sketched out the eyebrows with soft pastels and now I just go in and add little strands of hair to make it appear more detailed with different watercolor pencils that all match the pinkish color that Snowbell's, that's the name of the OC by the way, that match Snowbell's hair color. And now I use acrylic paint to like have a solid base for the eyes. Later on I also use watercolor pencils to add more details and depth to the eye. A quick spray of MSC, I now add in the eyeliner with black, even though I usually wait longer for that. Don't know why I did it so soon here. I later on also thickened it a bit more because I drew it on quite thin in this first pass, so I'm glad I didn't wait till the end because I definitely needed at least a second pass on the eyeliner. And I'm just adding a few more strands to the eyebrows, if you can say that. And also start on the eyes now with watercolored pencil. Even though this scared me a bit because in the past I have scratched up acrylic paint using watercolored pencils. So I did not want this happening again. So that was just a tiny bit scary. Luckily it all went good. Here you can see me sketching in the pupil. I first went with a dark green instead of black to like get that shine sort of thing I have going on in my art with the eyes usually. Because I really like that. So I tried to replicate this on the custom as good as I could, and I think it turned out decent. And with that, the face-up's all done. Shut up, iPad! As I'm still pretty clueless when it comes to making doll hair, I just sort of skipped filming it and just did it. So yeah, this is what we're working with. Since she has like this ombre look going on with her pink to white hair, I tried to recreate this using soft pastels, and it worked! At a cost. And we have more stuff that's gonna be really fun to clean up. Like, look at that. There's color everywhere on my glove. I mean, there's still some from all the customs, but that's all from dyeing the hair. And this thing probably also deserves to be cleaned. Oui. Moving on from that, I now began to work on the tail. For that, I just put strands of green and then later that pink to white hair around a piece of wire and just brushed it out so that it would stay on there, hopefully. And as far as I'm aware, it still is on there. So that clearly worked. And yeah, I just do that. And with the pink as well, but since the green is supposed to be in the middle, I just split the pink and then put it around there, and then stick in the tail in one of the holes that remains from the original hair. To really make sure the hair doesn't go anywhere, I also just twisted the wire tighter towards the hair, if that makes sense. For the rest of her hair, I just went through the tedious task of gluing on strands one by one. Not with hot glue, so the glue took ages to dry, and it was just really tedious, and what you see here I did for all of those strands. It took forever. Here's what it looks like with the hair all done. It's not styled yet, and this is a lot of hair, but I really like how it turned out, even though it took ages. And I just went ahead and styled the hair off camera because, once again, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I just did what I thought works. And it worked! The only things missing now are her accessories. I know she technically has 4 accessories, but 2 of them are optional. But since the hat has kind of become her staple, I really wanted to include that, and obviously the not optional accessories, which is that necklace choker thing, and the socks. So I just went ahead and made those real quick. For her head, I just went ahead and cut out this little triangle and sewed it up real quick, which ended up looking like this. But there obviously was that fur lining, even though I don't think it's fur, it would be fox fur. For that I just used this really fluffy white fabric, and this is what it ended up looking like. I also like fixed the posture of the head so it doesn't look like a gnome head. But I think it turned out really cute and it's super tiny. For her collar choker thingy, I just used this piece of leather, fox leather obviously, and just sewed up the edges, added a bunch of belts and an extra bit of, I don't know what this is precisely called, the like stuff, to like close it up. The socks, I just cut out these fun shapes and it worked somewhat. It looks a bit awkward, but it worked. And with that, she's finally all done.